Hello, you. Yes, you. This is Osayome Sale from Ways Primetime. Now, we appreciate your continued support for watching our content, following us across all our social media. But we've noticed, for those of you watching us on YouTube, 88.5% of you who watch our content aren't subscribed to our channel. Why? Now, if you are enjoying our content, you enjoy our shows, and you want to stay updated on all things Ways, it's time to hit that subscribe button below. Now, subscribing isn't just for you. It's for the growth of our channel. It helps us get bigger and better. With your support, we can continue to bring even more intriguing and exciting content. How about you subscribing right now and being a part of our community?
Good morning to you and welcome to Waste Breakfast. It's Friday, the weekend is just around the corner and I can feel the energy in the air. Trust you had a great week and you're ready for the weekend. My name is Omotoshola Sharimake and with me this morning are the beautiful and delectable ladies. We are all ready to kickstart your day with great conversation and insight. Hello ladies, good morning.
Good morning, Shola. Good morning, Bits Beauty.
I'm okay.
Good morning, Luchi.
So quickly, how was the week so far? Was it productive? Was it somewhere in between? Was it cool? Was it?
It was very productive for me if I would start because I remember that I just had this light bulb moment to do something related to my work and I decided to go for it. And even though I did not get as much as I would want, but that start still gave me, something that I can hold on to. And so I feel quite happy, yeah.
Interesting. What about you?
Yeah, it was productive because, personally, it was productive because, I spoke to you guys that I want to, go for a class, even though it's quite expensive and all of that. So working towards that, it's productive. Then work-wise, it was extra productive because, I feel like I've gotten so many connections now that I feel like, okay, yes, let's kickstart. Let's just do something
interesting.
So, yeah,
Go,
girl.
Well done.
Thank
For
you.
me, he was productive as well. The same usual routine. Yes, personal-wise. Work-wise, it was the old usual routine. Although there were extra outside jobs, yeah. Then for my own personal growth, schooling is going well. Me myself, I'm going well. I think I'm cool and I'm ready for October.
I love it.
Oh my God, I can't wait for October. October is just, I can't wait for October.
Monday is the last
There is a
month.
whole lot for October. Don't worry, I'll keep you guys updated.
Okay,
Just
I'm
ensure that you're
We are
glued.
ready. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we have an exciting discussion lined up for you. But first, if you are yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV, click the subscribe button now. Like and share the link to family and friends. Today, Friday, is when we get to talk about tech and everything related to innovations. Although we'll be diverting a little bit from the tech space, we'll be talking about the transportation sector and what may be the future of this sector. We'll be discussing and asking the question, is CNG the future of transportation sector in Nigeria, which is the compressed natural gas? And of course, we will be joined by experts in the industry to help expatiate this and also answer the question. Right now, let's take this break. We'll be right back after the break.
One man, one mandate, liberating the world through the word of faith. God, through Bishop David Oyedepo, has transformed countless lives, winning millions of souls to Christ, and has built a global ministry spanning 142 nations and 22,000 branches, over 100 best-selling books, 2 world-class universities, and numerous humanitarian initiatives, celebrating 70 years of God's faithfulness from the Winners family in the United States. Happy 70th birthday.
Glad to have you back. Welcome back to the studio. Before we dive into our main topic for today, let's take a quick look at headlines making waves this morning. We have updates from the Daily Trust newspaper, the Punch newspaper, and of course the New York Times. And we'll be starting with the Daily Trust newspaper, where the major headline reads, "Flood displaces 82 communities in Niger." Right under it, "We used canoe to evacuate our families." Next one says, 19 local government areas affected this year, says SEMA DG. "Situation worrisome," council chair says. 4 local government cut off in Borno State. And away from the flood issues, federal government suspend prison officer over Bobrisky's allegation. Hardship, Tinubu others low-key 61st celebration, independence celebration. Still at the top corner, Jonathan counters MS Sanusi, says Nigeria did not lose $49.8 billion under his watch. Then to the bottom corner, 50 million Almajiri out-of-school children roaming Nigerian streets, says federal government. Then the bottom corner has 3 headlines. The first one reads, "Cholera kills 11 in Ebonyi State." The last but one says, "Store operators suspend registration for 2025 Hajj." And the last one says, "Offer bank robbers to die by hanging after 6-year trials." And the headline I'm going to touch on is nothing but the trending Bobrisky matter. I mean, this Bobrisky matter can be talked about from different angles. From the EFCC angle, from the water and correctional facilities angle, from the celebrities angle. I mean, someone was sent to a correctional center. You guys donated as much as 36 million for him. He came out and did photo shoot for us at the beach, Mami Water Vibes, boat cruise and all of that. So now, Femi Falana angle as well. So now, the one in this news says, federal government suspend prison officers over Bobrisky's allegation, which means there is nothing but an atom of truth in what Very Dark Man is saying. He's accusing the correctional center because he was not in the prison at all. It was in a private apartment, close. Not in the correctional
thanks
center.
to Bobrisky Godfather.
I've heard of correctional centers having VIP lodge. Yes, I know there are VIP areas, which is very normal. Even in clinic and hospitals,
Is it
we
normal? I don't think it's supposed
What's
to
the
be.
essence of
I don't think it's not
correctional
supposed to be.
center?
It is not supposed to be.
Yeah,
Why? I don't
but this is
understand.
Nigeria. Let's act like it's a norm. It was not in the correctional center at all. He was somewhere close to the correctional center in an apartheid Airbnb, enjoying 6 months vacation.
I did tell
No
you.
social media, no people. He had access to social media, but he could not make a post or anything.
That's the thing.
Now, is Godfather? Who is the Godfather? Are we unconsciously or
There's a big question mark to that.
Are we
question.
accepting not even LGBTQ now, cross-dressing?
Cross-dressing, drag queens.
Drag queens, I understand that he's a sensation. He has come to stay. He's on the face of everyone. But are we accepting it? Because for there to be a Godfather that made that party for him, the Godfather cannot be the likes of Don Jazzy. The Godfather will be the likes of up there, not to mention anybody's name. Now, for Falana not to be a this thing, we understand Falana is a legal representative.
Yeah.
That's what he does for a living.
Yeah.
But I feel like not Falana. I feel like not someone like he is a legal representative. I know he owns a law firm, which the major purpose is to do this, and he's a son. We understand, but I felt like for him to reach out to Falana, it takes a stronger hand to reach out to Falana to plead on Bobrisky's behalf. Are you connecting what I'm connecting? It is easy for me to have issues and connect to that lawyer in my street, that lawyer in my estate, and it will represent me. But it's not easy for me to have issues and connect to Falana.
Again, from all the videos we've seen so far, right? And even including the letter that Fowles sent to, what's his name now, to VDM, it was stated there that it was Bobrisky that reached out to Fowles. So Fowles, whatever, I think there should not be a connection from Fowles to his father.
Interesting.
My own take here is that why is there a recurring crime pattern with this particular individual? You were saying correctional centers. I feel like the only people that should be like secluded from a correctional center is if they have mental issue that can pose a problem to the other inmates.
They don't,
and it's not
those in this case here. They don't even take them to correctional center. I'm sorry. That's why we have the psychiatric home.
Yeah.
What if they've committed a crime?
They take them there. That's why we have the psychiatric home. Exactly. You don't take them to correctional center. People that are not feeling well.
Anyways, the other story I read is that he came out to make a claim that he's about to commit suicide. I guess he's already overwhelmed
that was
with the lots of things that people have been
And
saying.
then the side I also want us to
that's
look at
super
is the
story.
side of friends friend making recording or friends over call. I mean, I don't understand what it is, but why would we be on call with me, no matter the relationship we have,
and make a recording
of it? Were you keeping it for a day where things should go south and you post? This is not a voice note. If it's a voice note, we take evidence.
I must say
but
that
this is a call.
He has really offended a lot of people.
It depends on the friend. So a person like Bobrisky, according to Blessing CEO, she said, I mean, when I was watching her video, she was like, everybody knows Bobrisky to be like this.
Yeah, he has a track record of not paying people. So takes loan and not pay back.
So in a situation where you're begging me for money, it just makes sense that I have an evidence. So the day I'm asking you for my money, you're not going to tell me Chere Kambia. You will give me my money straight. If not, And that's exactly how this thing played out. So imagine this guy don't have, that guy that Bobrisky was owing $4 million. Imagine he didn't have all this evidence. Do you think Bobrisky would have paid that money?
But like owing someone $4 million in this threatening T-Pain era, that's nothing but
and you can throw a party worth how many millions of naira
and post video and post pictures and screenshots of food that helped you.
My own take is I just hope that what's his name now, VDM, will just help us with the part 2 because there are a lot of people.
Yeah, he promised to release more.
Me and Rufai were saying we are begging you, please just help us with the part 2.
Before I pass it over to Oluchi. Well, where is Very Dark Man getting all this guts from? Is it not evidence? It's guts, confidence. This is Nigeria, where to be an investigative journalist, you have to be hidden somewhere. Right? We saw the story of Pido Man, how it ended. Right now, there's no even update about him. So where is Very Dark Man getting the confidence from?
Of course,
there's a Godfather somewhere. Don't forget.
This whole Godfather
that is how it is. Don't worry. That's how it is.
Let's look at Punch.
This story, I'm going to come back to it too because it has not ended. The man on the lips of everyone. All right, let's go to the Punch. The major headline is different from the story that we're hearing. It's about the federal government, 70,000 minimum wage. Federal government begins payment as salaries rise to 4 trillion naira. 1,236,824 federal workers to earn 334.9 billion naira monthly. NLC TUC Lord Federal Government. 21 children killed in Kenya school fire buried. Bobrisky, reps commend probe, prison controllers suspended. Kwara Hills death sentence for 5 off-bank robbers. And Afenifere demands restructuring at Senate Ok's Southwest Development Commission. Above that, concerning the Edo polls, he says Oshomole congratulates Okpebolo, wants Obaseki probed. Federal government's probing bandit sponsors, DHQ. Oil companies owe government over $6 billion, says 90. And Jonathan says, why my admin suspended Sanusi? Of course, we've talked about the Bobrisky story. There's no point going back and forth. I'll go to the one that's screaming on the Punch paper. That's the major headline that says, federal government begins payment as salary rises to 4 trillion naira. At least once in a while, we need to soak ourselves and immerse ourselves with some glimpse, some glimpse of good news. So let me read the full story. It says several months after it began, negotiations that ended with 70,000 as a new minimum wage, and the federal government has started paying. It says it means that over 1.2 million civil servants on the payroll will be paid the newly approved minimum wage in September. This is the breakdown that really got me interested. It said a breakdown showed that level 1 officers would now earn 930,000 naira per annum, and level 2, 934,000, level 3, 937,000, level 4, 950, level 5, 973, thereabouts, and level 7, 1 million plus. Well, the highest level, that's level, is it level 8 or 7? I can't get the full details. I think it's level 10, will earn 1.8 million naira. So up to level 12 as well. I'm seeing more figures here, earning 2 million naira. Oh, there's a level 16 that will earn up to 3.6 million, and level 17 will earn up to 6.9 million naira annually. This is good news.
Excuse you?
Wait now. Do you know how you compare good news? You compare good news from where you are coming from. That's just how to take it. Because were you expecting that it will start with 150K for minimum wage?
Not that.
I mean, we're on 33 before, now on 70. At least, even if you don't want to appreciate the coppers. One of my friends was telling me yesterday that her sister said that the coppers will soon start earning their 70 stuff, and I think they owe them. So even the ones that they owed, everything they will pay That's good news now. If I'm seeing 140, it is very good news, at least as we hope for it to get better. So that's the update I bring.
Like my mom will say then, as the moment they increase worker salary, those women in the market, they listen to radio stations. They are also going to so it's going to be balanced. A win is a win. Let's take a look at the New York Times.
I leave, the African continent to the international space. All right, the New York Times newspaper, but the left side of the newspaper, we have power figure who elevated Harris' profile, Alliance put spotlight on tech billionaire. But the bright side of the newspaper tells we a target of missile shots from Lebanon, Israeli mobilization. Middle of the newspaper, sneaking weapons under humanitarian cloak. And next to that, Cushion Fund, fees in a lot, profit out, $0. Our bottom of the newspaper, a beloved poet and rock star, and now a Ukrainian soldier. Next to that, which is the last headline on the newspaper, has some worry. No one will catch mistakes by doctors, AI helper. But the headline I want to quickly touch on is the last headline on the newspaper, which is some worry. No one will catch mistakes by doctors, AI helper. All right, doctors are using artificial intelligence, that's the AI, in the MyChat system to help draft responses to patients' messages. Patients often don't know that their doctor's reply was partly written by AI. Experts worry that since AI is involved, mistakes could be missed, especially because the people assume the responses are directly from the doctor. This raises concern about the quality and accuracy of care. To be honest, you see, one thing I like about the Westerners is the fact that they are the ones to build certain objects or certain apps and all of that. And they look at the positive side, and at the same time, they look at the negative. And they always ensure that the positive outweigh, the negative. So it's one thing to build apps that would help them, that would help respond to patients when they are sick and all of those things, right? Instead of having a doctor, because, if you have a lot of people to treat, it's better you just have an AI do certain job while the people, the humans do the rest of the jobs. Do you get what I'm saying? So the fact that they have built this AI, but they're not looking at it that, okay, if this AI is always responding to patients, at the same time, it might not give that human feeling because, it's a robot. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's just have certain things that already been imputed on it. So now they intend working on it so that it can literally speak to everybody. So if you're coming with a malaria sickness now and you probably don't have issues, you have issues with it, and you've spoken to every other person, they're giving you the same answer. They have made it, they have put this, this app to be in a way that it would respond to you the way a human being will, so that you're getting your answers with immediate effect.
That's
so honestly speaking, I just like the idea. I just hope that this is something that our leaders see and they get to learn. It's not just by building or saying we have the money, it's the implementation that matters. So
thank you very much. And let me just touch on this thing. Akwa Ibom First Lady Patience Umo Eno has passed away. She passed away after a brief illness. The Akwa Ibom First Lady, may the soul of the faithful departed rest in peace. We take this quick break and we return with our guest who joins us virtually. We are diving deep into the future of the transportation sector. Please stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
One man, one mandate, liberating the world through the word of faith. God, through Bishop David Oyedepo, has transformed countless lives, winning millions of souls to Christ, and has built a global ministry spanning 142 nations and 22,000 branches, over 100 best-selling books, 2 world-class universities, and numerous humanitarian initiatives, celebrating 70 years of God's faithfulness from the Winners family in the United States. Happy 70th birthday.
You're welcome back to the show. As we get closer to the weekend, let's dive into something that's going to shape the future. This morning, we'll tackle a pressing question: is CNG the future of transportation in Nigeria? As the world grapples with the challenges of fuel costs, many are turning to compressed natural gas as a cleaner, more sustainable alternative to petrol. Recent news has highlighted a surge in car conversions across the country, especially in Lagos and Abuja, where conversion at the moment is seemingly free. Recall that in August, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu inaugurated 30 CNG buses with 3,000 passengers capacity. Also, Ogun State Governor Dakwa Abiodun announced his administration would make available 100 brand new 18-seater CNG buses. Today, we'll be exploring what this means for our roads, our economy, and our environment. How would this transition impact the lives of everyday Nigerians? What are the benefits of CNG and what challenges do we face in fully adopting this technology? Joining us to have this conversation is an industry expert, like I said. He's the CEO of Mexaverse. He is a seasoned business executive with an illustrious 15 years career on Wall Street. Distinguished by a profound focus in clean energy, let's make welcome our guest who joins us virtually, Tosin Thompson. Good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, guys.
Thank you very much. So we are just going to talk about the future of the transportation sector in Nigeria. I've come through your profile and I saw that you love anything related to energy. And with an extensive background in the clean energy, how do you view the current landscape of transportation sector in Nigeria, particularly regarding this CNG that we are trying to adopt? Some feels, oh, what if my car just blows up? Some feels, let's just wait for Dangote refinery. Some feels, as long as there's fuel, even if it's 1, 2, even if it's 2,000, let's buy it. So I need to hear your view about it first before we start getting deeper into this conversation.
So first of all, my screen's frozen, so I can't see you. So anytime you lose me, just let me know. To answer your question directly, right? When we talk about CNG or any fuels that we're looking at, I encourage everybody to think about it in terms of a transition, right? Because the goal for Nigeria and for the world really is to get into renewable energy. That's the most efficient part of energy. But then again, we have to take a step back and be more pragmatic and more realistic. When it comes to CNG, what Nigeria is pretty much saying is that we have an abundance of a particular resource, which is gas. And what we want to do is to tap into that resource and make it make sense for our needs, for our use cases, for whatever value chain we employ, and also make it an economic reality. So let's start from there, right? So anything about CNG, anything about any other fuel, we should think about it as a transition towards renewable. Okay, so you did mention some interesting concerns. First of all, you put gas in your car and is it going to blow up and things like that. So what we need to do and what the presidential CNG committee led by Engineer Michael Oluwagbemi is doing is enacting a training program to bring people up to speed on what CNG is. I'm a private individual. Yes, my company, Mexaverse, is partnered with the PCNG in converting vehicles, but I'm private. I'm nowhere government, so I'm not going to talk anything government. I'll have the government stakeholders speak for themselves. But in speaking to how the initiative is taking place, from what was told to me, first of all, we want to, bring CNG to transportation. We want to convert vehicles, right? So Nigerians can start getting used to using CNG. But there's this fear that I'm putting gas in my car and it's going to blow up. If I told you that CNG is actually the safest gas compared to diesel, PMS, and also to LPG, for one reason in that CNG is less dense than air. So in case of any leakage, it escapes, right? Even though it's a pressure cylinder, they are bulletproof and they are solid cylinders, and it's considered safe as long as you have the cylinder infrastructure to house it, and it's not. And I'm sure there are regulatory standards around that. We're looking at a safe mode of transportation. So there's so many things to pack in, so I'm going to try and structure this as much as possible. So we've outlined safety as one concern. Another thing is just basic training, right? When people understand what this gas is and how it can be implemented, right? One way it can be implemented, which is what I'll call the use case, is through transportation, right? And that's the low-hanging fruit for the government. Through transportation, Nigeria sees a way to hit directly to what I will call the last mile stakeholders. That is you and that is me, right? Because in transportation, everyone we need to transport ourselves to work, for entertainment, eat, right? And with the rising cost of PMS, which is another source of fuel that we've used and Nigeria has been using, CNG is a much cheaper alternative for transportation, right? Let's be honest though, initial installation is actually high, but if you have
Okay, I guess I was trying to explain that CNG will save us a lot of money. He mentioned the fact that, okay, it's actually very cheap and it's safer than, I mean, the best compared to the liquefied petroleum gas, even the petrol itself. I was going to ask him a follow-up question. He has been talking about the advantages. Oh, it's good. Oh, it's cheaper. Oh, it's this and that. What about the disadvantages? Because that's what Nigerians want to know. Before we can convince a normal, average, educated, not the bus drivers, educated Nigerians to convert their Lexus from a petroleum running car to a distant car, they need to know the disadvantages. Oh, will it overheat? Or when I'm stuck in traffic, will it need water to cool it down, or will it just blow up? Because the fear right now is it will blow up. Yes, we use gas in our home to cook, but I don't think it's the CNG gas. But before we even accepted using cooking gas in our home, it took a long time. Because I remember growing up as a child when gas was coming up, or growing up as a teenager also, it affected two of my cousins. They got burnt up. I mean, till today, they still have that. Two of them got really burnt up. So it affected us because our parents were scared of, oh, we're still kids, what if we turn it on and then it blows up the house? So what if something like that is applicable to CNG gas that we're trying to put in our cars? Because normal petrol cars, they get hot. The carburetor, we need to start pouring excess water in the carburetor. We know Nigerians, they can be so reckless with their cars at times. At times, they will leave their power steering and it will be so hard and so many other things. So we'll just await our guests to answer the next question.
I'm going to say something. This gas story just reminded me how Nigerian parents can be so agitated when it comes to gas. For the longest in our house growing up, my dad didn't want us to use gas at all. There was just this inherent fear that something bad would happen. But my own question now is, when it comes up, I'm going to ask me a whole lot of questions because I've just been thinking about it. It's a good policy. The fact that it's going to decrease the pressure on the PMS supply. I mean, fuel has been giving us a lot of trouble. It's good for the environment. But can it work side by side the PMS? Or is it that one is coming to take over the other? In the sense that, can we have CNG buses on the road with normal buses that are operating on petrol? Or if they're going to be on the road at the same time, does it pose any risk? Having fuel and gas on the road at the same time, does it pose any form of risk? Do you understand? And all of these questions. And also, he mentioned something about education. I'm wondering, how long is this going to take for everybody who wants to implement this to be educated? Are they planning to just educate, the public transport users, like the way we have the BRT?
Or everybody go learn themselves.
NERTW.
Because there are people who drive buses that don't even have access. They don't really listen to all these things. They don't have access to all this learning. What is the plan? It feels like it's a good thing, but there's still a whole lot of structuring that we need to do so that it can eventually serve that good that it was meant to serve.
Yeah, and just like we have the Blue Rail line, it has its own road. Okay, this is the only road that the Blue Rail line.
So that's how the CNG.
So no, I think if we're going to implement CNG, maybe the CNG buses by Tinubu or maybe by Dakwa Abiodun, maybe we should start by that, because I think we Nigerians are really scared. Even the normal BRT buses, today accident, tomorrow accident. I know a couple people that they will never step their foot in the BRT buses. For me, I've not entered before, but there was no reason for me. But each time I am driving past, or maybe on the road, and I'm seeing I'm always very scared. Because I feel like maybe they're not competent. Because I think this year we recorded a high number of accidents here, They fell inside the space. Each time I see them, oh God, I'm literally very scared. Right. So if we're trying to bring in CNG buses, gas. Hearing gas alone, we are low-key very scared. if let's start by converting our BRT buses or the new 30-seater bus that I want to introduce, we are starting to implement them. People are now trying to use them. What are those safety measures that you feel like the government should educate us on? Because I feel like you really need to educate us. You really need to put us on it. What do we do? What do we not do? But then we'll just await our guests. We're trying to fix the network issues going on. Do you want to say something?
Well, to be honest, I feel like you guys already said it all. Because, I mean, my question would be on implementation, and which is something both of you already spoke on. Because it is one thing to say, oh, we have this policy or we have this particular thing, and let's do it because it's beautiful, it's cheaper, and all of these things. But it's the implementation thing that we have issues on in this country, to be honest. We keep saying, oh, we have the money to do this. Oh, yeah, now who is implementing it? Because the only thing everybody is thinking about is their own pocket. Do you get what I'm saying? So we need to talk about the implementation. And I like the fact that he said that he's a private entity. So I want to hear the implementation from his own angle, you know. How is he implementing it so far? And I mean, you talk about education. How is he educating people around him, you know, on this usage when at the end of the day it comes to play, right? And at the same time, the government as well, because, I mean, we need both the private entities and both the government as well to work hand in hand, in order for each and every one of us to be safe out there. Because if these two people are not coming together, you know, to be informed on this particular CNG, whatever, and the policies, the rest of us will suffer for it. Do you get what I'm saying? So
let's take this coffee break. We'll be right back after the show. The show still continues. Please stay with us. We'll be back in a moment.
One man, one mandate, liberating the world through the word of faith. God, through Bishop David Oyedepo, has transformed countless lives, winning millions of souls to Christ, and has built a global ministry spanning 142 nations and 22,000 branches, over 100 best-selling books, 2 world-class universities, and numerous humanitarian initiatives, celebrating 70 years of God's faithfulness from the Winners family in the United States. Happy 70th birthday.
Today, we celebrate a remarkable leader, father, and visionary, Bishop David Oyedepo, founder of the Winners Chapel International. His unwavering faith and dedication to spreading the word of God have transformed countless of lives across the globe. With a heart full of compassion, Bishop Oyedepo has built a legacy of empowerment through education, faith, and community service. His teachings inspire millions, encouraging them to reach their highest potential and embrace the promises of God. As we honor him on this special day, let us reflect on his profound impact, pioneering a movement that uplifts individuals and strengthens families. His commitment to prayer, prosperity, and purpose resonates deeply with all who encounters his mission.
Imagine the world where the voices of the youth finally get the spotlight they deserve.
Welcome to Ways Breakfast, the groundbreaking show where young minds unite together to tackle issues that truly matter.
We're flipping the script on traditional morning talk shows, and this is your chance to hear the youth speak out.
We're not just skimming headlines, we're diving deep into the heart of topics that impact us all.
From politics to governance, tech innovations, mental health, and trendy social issues.
We don't just discuss, we ignite conversations that inspire change and spark action.
Join us every morning for fresh, young, and vibrant perspectives
that empowers the next generation to make a difference.
Start your day right with Ways Breakfast, because when the youth speak, the world listens. Ways Breakfast, weekdays at 8 a.m. live on Upgrade TV.
Glad to have you back from that break, and our guest is back now. We are still speaking to the question, is CNG the future of transportation sector in Nigeria? Kindly let us know what you think about it. You can call us on 0702-500-7749 or on 0701-4224-2420. Oluchi, take it away.
Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for giving us that great start to this conversation. The CNG buses initiative, when I heard of it, I was a bit hopeful because, I mean, at this point where we're in our country, there's a lot of strain already with the whole refinery, fuel, PMS and all that. So seeing a way out is going to, revoke some sort of hope in our hearts. But then I still have to think about the implementation of this so that we do not have a start and stop kind of thing, because it seems to be a pattern. I mean, I read and saw that some other countries have had this CNG stuff in, that is going on and is running currently, like India, Pakistan, the US, even Brazil. And I saw that there were different policies that they implemented to ensure that it was running, and it's still running for long term. So if Nigeria is about to implement this, I believe firstly that it's good to learn from people who has done this. We've had other infrastructures and things we wanted to implement, but we had start and stop. At least from the electoral practices itself, the BVAS and e-voting, we're not seeing it gaining its stronger foot as it ought to. And other things like modern railways and all. It's just like we see that it's great, we copy them, we want to implement it, but we did not think ahead. We did not really plan that, how are we going to sustain this? So considering your expertise in this field, in energy and all, what do you think Nigeria as a whole, our government, and even us can implement or learn from these other nations who have implemented this so that we can have a sustainable CNG practice in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you for that. Very good questions. Let's just set the template, and I know you already did. I'm talking from a private business perspective. So when it comes to, planning and executions around planning that the government is going to roll out, all I can do is coming from an advisory perspective. So you hit the nail on the head. Everything is tied to planning. And also the good news to this is that we have countries that have currently run a successful transition program as well. Right? You mentioned India, India uses CNG, Pakistan, CNG. You also mentioned Brazil, Brazil predominantly ethanol, right? As an alternative fuel over there. So when it comes to planning, we have to take a step back and see that. And first answer the question, what's our end goal, right? Our end goal is to create cheap, first of all, tap into the reserves that we currently have as a country, into the resource that we currently have in the country, implement it into use cases, useful use cases that will be used by the last mile. I keep emphasizing the last mile, that is me and you. Let's be realistic. Let's cut all the complexities and all the jargons. At the end of the day, the people that need it, are they using it, right? So let's focus on that. So target whatever initiative you have towards them and make sure that they can have it at a cheap rate. That pretty much sums up what we need in terms of going through it in the transportation sector. Now, without going into the details of this, there's a lot of politics around the cost of PMS, whether subsidies should be on or whether subsidies should be removed. I take a stance as a private individual that if you want to, obviously I believe in subsidies, but I don't believe in just subsidizing the product on the midstream of the product, right? Just on the high level. So subsidizing PMS the way it was subsidized, as we all know, is not effective and it's not hitting the last man, right? So I think that the price just has to go up. Unfortunately, it has to go up because as a country, we can't keep running the distribution of PMS the way it has been run, right? The country just cannot afford it. So that's why I applaud initiatives like the CNG rolling into the channel, the distribution channel, because CNG is a much more cost-effective way to roll out transportation in a cost-effective way. But then you have to be very strategic in your rollout. So we're in the heart of a private individual that is just advising. One thing I should tell you, I must commend the presidential CNG initiative led by Engineer Michael Oluwagbemi. They've been very aggressive in the push of CNG and the rollout of CNG to the transport sector. Nigeria is an economy of about 200 million people. It was once touted, or some view, touted as the giant of Africa in terms of our GDP, etc. Right? Rolling out an initiative in such an aggressive manner, to be honest, is a milestone, is an achievable milestone, but it's a tough milestone to achieve. So let's all come together. And, it's easy to, throw stones at the person that is trying to execute. Let's all come together and as a country and applaud initiatives being pushed, right, to soft.
Okay, he was talking about let's applaud the initiative that has been introduced. To be honest, Nigeria is really trying. I know we've all chosen to pay attention to a particular view about Nigeria being bad, Nigeria not doing this, and Nigeria not doing that. But Nigeria introducing CNG gas at a time where we are struggling with our petrol. To be honest, I think it's a good thing. And I've also heard of some centers in Lagos that you can convert your car for free. I was through Ikeja. I was going through Ikeja on Saturday.
Process of converting your car.
I really do not know the
have to change the whole engine or what? Because you cannot change your car, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, just ask your question, then relate it to that.
Okay, so the question I wanted to ask is for private entities, right? So I remember having a conversation with someone, and the person is like, oh, okay, I have this money, and I also want to, explore, having my own private CNG buses and all of that. I mean, why awaiting the government's policies and this starting as soon as possible? But now, taking us back to what's going on with, Dangote and the fuel system and all of that. I mean, it was in the news at one time that, the NNPC, or do I say the government don't want to sell crude to Dangote, and there was a back and forth, and now we have the monopoly system, right? So there's just this, everybody complaining about the fact that, okay, it is one thing for private entities to say that, okay, since the government are yet to put these things in check, right, let me just do it on behalf of, of the government, or let me just do it enough for me to be making my own money. Now, I want to ask, what's the process like? Since you're a private person and you also have, like, partners and all of that, what's the challenges and how are you able to overcome them so that people out there, including this, my friend now, that want to, start hers, so that she doesn't have issues with the government, on the long run?
So very, very good question again. Unfortunately, we're seeing this whole Dangote and NPC debacle play out in front of the whole world. Yeah. In some instances, private investors are losing confidence because when you look at a private individual or a group of individuals going into an economy, they are taking a risk, right? And what I always try to separate is the private side of the economy from the government side of the economy. I always try to look at the government as a referee, so to speak. Make sure the standards and make sure the rules of the game are held to, and they try and stay as much as possible from impeding the smooth operations of the private individual. So I think with the PMS going on with Dangote, they are sorting it out. And then when that's sorted out, everything in terms of operations and distributions will be streamlined. But the lessons learned from that, I think the government, first of all, the government through the PCNG is spearheading this initiative. And I think they are taking the right approach. So if you go back and you can look up further previous communication from Michael Oluwagbemi, he emphasized that, listen, we are not taking the role of private individuals here. Our goal is to stimulate the demand, right? And that is a very key point. And they even took it further and they selected a group of private companies to partner with them and say that, listen, our job here is to make sure we create that soft landing for you to roll out your own conversion centers and converting commercial vehicles from petrol into a hybrid model of petrol and CNG so that it will be cheaper for the last mile. That is me and you. I love that because the government through PCNG is saying that, listen, we're not in the business of creating companies. That's not our job. But our goal is to make sure the everyday Nigerians, which is me and you, are able to tap into the efficiency in terms of price and the cheapness of this CNG. And what we're going to do is to select a handful of credible private companies that will join us in this partnership to stimulate demand. So let's focus on that area. Let's focus on what they are doing, right, as the government. And then I cannot start looking at different sectors of the government. So let's focus on what I know. I'm in the CNG space. I'm in the gas space, LPG and CNG. And I look at them in terms of stimulating demand. I look at it as then pushing this through with the right approach. They're not trying to cannibalize the business. They're not trying to compete with the small businesses, but they want to even support the small businesses because the end goal is to make sure that the last mile, me and you, tap into the benefits of CNG.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Thompson. And now I want to ask from the angle of a common Nigeria. I need you to elaborate on the environmental advantages of CNG and the disadvantages. And I also need you to speak to a common man like me that I own a car. What would you say to me to convince me to change from petroleum to CNG? And what's the process like? Because I think I've seen a gas station here at Ikeja a while ago, last weekend. They said they convert, and I think they do it for free for now. So what are the processes? Then tell us the environment, because you do clean energy, you do climate change. Of course, we say carpooling is bad. Let's do carpooling. Let's not emit enough and plenty bad distance into the air. We know all of these things. But now I want to accept CNG. What are the advantages to the environment? What are the disadvantages to the environment? How can you convince a normal, let's even say educated, let's not go to the NURTW drivers, an educated person to convert his or her car from petrol to CNG? And then what is the process like? Do they have to remove an engine? Do they have to take out like the pump side, or how does it work?
Okay, so you have about 100 questions there, so I'll try.
Apologies, our time is already going.
No, it's okay. That's fine. I'll try to keep it step by step. In educating, first of all, PCNG has to roll out, and I think they are working on it. A training and educative program so that everyday users can get on board with it, because you're asking very valid questions that everybody is asking, right? In terms of the benefits of CNG for the climate, lower carbon footprint compared to the diesels, compared to the PMS, right? Again, when I started this conversation with you, I said CNG is not where we're going to stay. Right? It's not the forever future for Nigeria. It's the transitionary future for Nigeria from all perspectives. Because economically, we have this gas that we need to use and make money with, right? From a climate perspective, we have this gas that is cleaner than the diesel and PMS that we're currently using, right? So if we transition to it, it will be cleaner for the climate. But the holy grail really is renewable fuels. Right? It's where you're talking wind, when you're talking solar. That's the clean, from a climate perspective, that's the cleanest type of fuel. But for Nigeria, we're just not ready for that, right? In terms of distribution, in terms of the viability of that. It's a work in progress. But what we see is CNG that we can, if we create a distribution model for, we can transition the country through gas, reap the benefits in terms of climate, the cleaner climate compared to what we already have, and also the economic benefits because we have it in abundant reserves. And then as that is going on, we are also working in parallel to move on to renewable energy so that we are aligned with global standards, right? But we also have to look at Nigeria first and then make sure that we're transitioning to renewable. So I hope that explained the climate side of things. It's cleaner than diesel PMS, definitely. It's not as clean as solar, but we will need to get to solar in a realistic way, okay? So in terms of the transport sector and how it's converted, etc. So when they say conversion, we are not replacing the PMS fuel with 100% CNG-based fuel. What they are doing is they're going to add equipment in the vehicle so that the vehicle can use both the existing fuel, whether it's petrol or diesel, and also the CNG. So you're not switching 100% to CNG, right? When they install it for you, and this is the beauty of it, when they install it for you, you're going to be using, if you're using petrol, which is PMS, as your primary fuel, and they convert to CNG, they're not converting 100% to CNG. What they're doing is 70% CNG, or it's a combination of both. So your car will be, quote unquote, a hybrid-based fuel car
So
running
would there be
on
like,
CNG.
I'm so sorry to cut you there. Would there be like a changeover? Like, I'm so sorry to cut you there. Would there be like a changeover for the likes of like light and generator? So if I have excess petrol, would I like switch to petrol? Okay, autopilot on petrol. Or if I want to use gas, would I like, how does it work? Or how will it work?
So first of all, let's stick with the cars, and then I'll talk about the generators you mentioned, because I'm very excited about the power space, right? But sticking with cars, yes, with the technology that is available, it's going to be on auto, but you can also override it manually. So without you touching it, if you keep it on auto, when you start the car and you start driving the car, it will be, if you have a full tank of CNG, the lights will indicate that you're running on CNG, right? And when that finishes, and when it's running on CNG, think about it as 85% CNG and 15% petrol. And in some instances, depending on the quality of the tools, it can go as high as 92% CNG and the balance on petrol, right? When your CNG now finishes, it automatically switches over to the petrol. So as a driver, if you're not, being nitpicky and you're paying attention to, the gauge on the installed equipment, right, you wouldn't even notice a thing. All you notice is that you're just driving, right? You're able to monitor the level of CNG on your car through the gauge that will be installed. And then through your normal petrol gauge, you also monitor the normal usage of your petrol. So they're both used in tandem for vehicles. And as a driver, all you have to do is just get in your car. If it's installed properly, get in your car, just turn it on, and then start driving.
I don't think we have
the other.
Okay, go ahead. Just quickly, please. Our time is almost out.
Yeah, that sums it up. I think CNG is a fantastic alternative that we should keep pushing. Just to note that there's still a lot of work to do. We have to create a proper distribution model, because conversion is not the end goal. That's just the start in creating a distribution model for CNG. What comes after that, I'll liken it to your filling stations that you have for petrol, where you go and buy your fuel. We need to create a distribution for that on CNG. Maybe leverage the existing filling stations to be able to dispense both petrol and CNG, as they currently do with petrol and LPG, which is cooking gas. So they should put a CNG dispenser in there so that it's convenient for drivers to drive in, right? And also get CNG. after their vehicles are converted.
Thank you very much, Thompson. This is the much we can take. Thank you for shedding light on the exciting things happening in the transportation world. For me, and I think on everyone on this table, we look forward to see what the future holds for CNG. Thank you very much for appearing on our show this morning, ladies. Thank you very much. It's a wrap for this week. We'll come your way again next week, Monday. Please enjoy your weekend. See you next week, Monday. Bye for now.
Hello, you. Yes, you. This is Usayome Sale from Ways Prime Time. Now, we appreciate your continued support for watching our content, following us across all our social media. But we've noticed, for those of you watching us on YouTube, 88.5% of you who watch our content aren't subscribed to our channel. Why? Now, if you are enjoying our content, you enjoy our shows, and you want to stay updated on all things Ways, it's time to hit that subscribe button below. Now, subscribing isn't just for you. It's for the growth of our channel. It helps us get bigger and better. With your support, we can continue to bring even more intriguing and exciting content. How about you subscribing right now and being a part of our community?